are introduced. And members of the media, a Q&A facilitated by Parliamentary Assistant to Minister Clark will follow today's announcement. Now I'll turn it over to Parliamentary Assistant Minister Clark, for Minister Clark, Parm Gill, who will MC today's virtual announcement.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Maria. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here with all of you. And it's obviously an honor for me to join Minister Clark, my colleague, MPP Bauma, Mayor Davis, Mayor Bailey for this good news announcement. Our government knows how important it is to support our most vulnerable people, including those who are experiencing homelessness and who are at the risk of becoming homeless in communities like Brantford and across our great province. I'd like to now invite Minister Clark, Minister for Municipal Affairs and Housing, to share with us what our government is doing to combat homelessness and help those who need it the most. So over to you, Minister.
Thanks, Parm. And I just again want to thank you as my parliamentary assistant for the great work that you're doing. You're just, we're a great team, and we really want to thank you for all your work on this file. I also want to say hi to my friend MPP Bauma. Good to see you, Will, and your worships. It's always, as a former mayor, you always have to say your worship. You know, it's great to see everyone on the call, and just really, really proud of everything that everyone's been able to do. We all know that that municipalities, and I know better than anyone, that municipalities are on the front lines. You've been delivering critical services to meet people's needs. And our government is very pleased to be supporting communities like Brantford during these challenging times. So I'm going to just take you back to last year. So last year, Premier Ford called on the federal government, and he was able to secure what I would call essential funding for our municipal sector. He was able to provide $4 billion to Ontario's 444 municipalities under the Safe Restart Agreement. We know Ontarians needed more housing support, which is why we provided $765 million through our Social Services Relief Fund that, you know, went largely unmatched by the federal government. We're also looking at the National Housing Strategy. We're also receiving $490 million fewer dollars than we should to meet our core housing needs. Our government's taking action to support our most vulnerable, but we need the feds to do their part. So we're going to continue to call on the federal government. We're going to continue to advocate for our fair share of funding to support community housing in Ontario. So before I turn things over to my colleague, MPP Bauma, who's again doing an amazing job, he's really an inspiration to me as a colleague in government, and he represents the riding and the community so well. So I'm glad that Will's here. And before I let him speak to how Brantford will be using Social Service Relief Fund dollars to create more longer-term sustainable housing solutions for the community, I just want to talk about some of the things that our government is doing to address homelessness. So just indulge me for a few moments. So right here in Brantford, through our community homelessness prevention initiative, we're providing $3 million to help vulnerable residents with essentials like rent supports, homeless shelters, street outreach, to help address and also to prevent homelessness. I understand how important it is for everyone to have a safe place to call home. And that's why the Premier and our government are providing supports for those who are experiencing or are at risk of being homeless more than the previous government. We've also invested nearly $1.8 billion to help sustain, repair, and grow our community housing system, which addresses the long-term impacts of COVID-19. We're also seeing tremendous support across Ontario for modular housing, which many communities are using to create supportive housing opportunities, which provides those wraparound services to help our most vulnerable. And I know that Mayor Davis has heard me say this many times, the days of the old shelter system have come and gone. I think supportive housing, innovative solutions are critical to ensure that people who need a roof over their head can access it. The project that we're celebrating today is a great example of how our government is helping communities with the longstanding issue of homelessness through innovation, through collaboration, and through a commitment to make sure everyone has a safe place to call home. So I hope in the days to come that I'll be back in beautiful Brantford, seeing all the sites with Will and with you, Your Worship. And with that, I'll just throw it back over to Parm to pump up Will's tires before he gets to speak and make the announcement.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Minister. And I also want to thank you for obviously your leadership and your tireless work in making projects such as this successful, obviously, and ultimately Ontarians are in good hand with you at the help, and especially in this particular portfolio and the amount of experience you bring with you. I'd now like to welcome, of course, as Minister pointed out, one of the hardest working MPP Bama. We're obviously proud to have him at Queen's Park, and I think people of Brantford Brant are lucky to have a representative such as MPP Bama, and he's going to share with us the importance of the project and how this project is going to help vulnerable people in Brant. So over to you, MPP Bama.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, PA Gill and Minister Clark, for your kind words. Very much appreciated. It's so great to join you today, along with Minister Clark and Mayors Davis, and I haven't seen Mayor Bailey yet, but hopefully he's on also. You know, we've seen the impact that the pandemic has had on vulnerable people in our communities, and protecting the health and safety of all Ontarians continues to be our government's #1 priority, which is why I am so pleased to announce our government's investment of $1.25 million for the Social Services Relief Fund to help create 25 affordable modular housing units here in Brantford to protect vulnerable people. Today's funding is part of our government's overall investment of $6.7 million in Brantford through the Social Services Relief Fund. Ensuring every Ontarian has a safe place to call home is an important goal for our government, and it is even more important as we work to protect everyone through COVID-19. This modular complex will provide more than temporary shelter for people who are homeless. Designed for older individuals who are 55 and older, they will be truly affordable homes. There will be a small garden, room for bike storage, and the building will be located on a transit corridor so residents can easily access public transit. The 5-story building will also include commercial space on the main floor, something that will benefit the entire community. These new affordable homes will help to serve some of our most vulnerable residents in Brantford during COVID-19, but also for years to come. We are pleased to support this project in Brantford, where we can work quickly to those vulnerable Ontarians now while addressing future housing needs. Thank you, and back to you, PA Gill.
Thank you very much. Thank you, MPP Bama, for sharing such an amazing news. I'm sure your constituents are going to be very happy and pleased with this good news announcement. I'm now going to invite Mayor Davis to say a few words about this important announcement. Over to you, Mayor Davis.
Yeah, thank you very much, Parliamentary Assistant Parm Gill. To MPP Will Boma, great seeing you again, Will. We see one another quite frequently and work together very well. For you, Minister Clark, welcome to my basement in the city of Brantford. And I'm not gonna let you out of here without, I'm not just gonna go 2 minutes. So I'll go a bit longer. Hope you got a few, but I won't go long. But first of all, I wanna express my deep appreciation to the provincial government, to our partners like our MPP Will Boma, and of course to Minister Clark and his housing ministry, because through our cooperative effort, we are actually adding to the supply of our affordable housing in our city of Brantford. And in the city of Brantford, we, like many and most other municipalities across Ontario, no, should I say Canada, face a desperate housing crisis. And this particular development that MPP Will Boma described is going to help Minister Clark address the problem that's most acute on our wait list for affordable supportive housing, and that is the single adult individuals, where it's a 10-year waiting list. And this is going to serve a specific part of that list, but it's part of the list that we haven't really addressed in a long time, because of course last year was a supportive housing development that we did in association with your government. And Minister Clark, I think you probably know, here in Brantford, you've got a city council and a corporation that's committed to taking really concrete steps to address the housing crisis. It's one of our top 3 priorities, council said earlier this year. And in fact, it's led to vigorous debate discussions here, how we actually fund that, because of course it does take money. But I want to tell you that, and I'm sure I'm not telling you that you don't know, but some of the secondary spinoffs that come from this, that's not just helping to deal with the supply of affordable and supportive housing, but for example, the modular home aspect. And the supplier is a local builder here in Brantford of modular homes. They're kind of in the early stages of their business. They're trying to build it. They've already got a few years under their belt and lots of experience from prior businesses they're involved in. But this is going to help this business develop its portfolio and grow and expand, not just for the benefit of the city, but of course the benefit of the province of Ontario. And we're making active use of a long dormant piece of land that we've held in the west end of our city's core that's just sat vacant and unused for no productive purpose. Now we're going to put it to productive purpose. And lastly, I think of particular interest to your other department. This is setting the stage. This and another development we want to do with the County of Brant in the town of Paris is leading to really meaningful discussions between us about how we share that responsibility and how we fund it. I really never had a comprehensive discussion about this since that was downloaded to municipalities 20 plus years ago. And this is a catalyst to doing that. And we're quite optimistic, Minister, that we're going to be able to resolve it without any help or assistance. Because as you know, we're 2 tier 1 municipalities without a regional government to deal with those kinds of issues. So we're going to try and find our own homemade solutions, and we're well into that process. So with that, I want to thank you very much, Minister Clark, MP Will Boma, and Minister Clark, your government, for your commitment, which you're now doing, of course, with some funding coming to you, help from the federal government, to really take concrete steps to deal with this crisis we have in respect to housing, and not just words, like doing something, and doing it collaboratively and cooperatively. We had the development last year we call our Marlene Ave supportive housing. This one, and I'm sure there's many more to come. And I'm looking forward to having you here on many further occasions, Minister Clark, to make similar announcements. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Worship, for the insight and for your kind words. Much appreciated. Next, I'm not sure if Mayor Bailey is with us, but if he is, I'd like to invite him to say a few words.
Hello, I am with you. I just got here. I was on another call. So welcome, and I'm very anxious to hear what we're going to be talking about. Thank you for doing this for us.
Pleasure. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, or is that the end of that, Mayor Bailey?
I think that's the end of that right now. I don't have anything in front of me. I can't find my notes, so we'll just leave it at that.
Perfect. No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time and being with us. Very much appreciated. We're now going to go to questions from the media, if there are any, and I'm going to turn it over to Maria to moderate that. Over to you, Maria.
Hi, it's Crystal Caputo for Minister Clark. Can I just ask the members of the media to please change your names, because it just says participant and I won't know how to call on you. So if you bring up the participants list on the bottom of your screen, hover over the one that says webinar panelist and then me in brackets and rename yourselves, then you can raise your hands and we'll take questions. Thank you. Okay, so just a reminder to media, if you have a question, please raise your hand. There's a raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Seeing no hands, I will turn it back to PA Gill. Thank you.
Well, sorry about that. My little dog here is very anxious. Thank you, Crystal. I guess there are no questions, so that kind of concludes our formal announcement. I'm not sure if there's any last words, Minister Clark or MPP Bauma, that you'd like to share before we end today's announcement.
I just again want to thanks you, Parm, for being the MC. I want to thank MPP Bauma for the great work that he's doing in the riding. And I want to say to Mayor Davis and Mayor Bailey that, in the days ahead, I'm very interested in this development. I think it's exactly the type of development that our government needs to continue to support at the municipal level. So I'm sure that at some point in the future, Will can invite Parm and I, and we'll have a visit with both mayors and the new residents of this new facility. So thanks for having me.
No, and if I can add to that, thank you, Minister, very much for being here, and for Parm for being here also. It's I've really appreciated being able to see the collaborative nature between the city, the county, and the province, and even the federal government in order to try to get these things going. And very good to hear that we already have a builder lined up. And I was wondering, Mayor Davis, if we have any idea when this would be getting started.
Well, I believe the requirements of this are that it should begin before the end of the year. That's a very optimistic and tight timeline, but not by the end of the year, then certainly shortly thereafter. And
that's what I think is really exciting when you see these developments able to move forward quickly. The building that we put up on Marlene Ave and the other modular homes that we're building across the city, so that we truly find affordable solutions for people inside the city, and especially those most vulnerable at risk. And again, I would just like to thank the minister and the mayors for being so open-minded and willing to work together, and for all the staff that made that happen. Thank you.
yeah, and if I might just say one last comment, beyond just simply this particular development, going through the COVID pandemic together with the provincial government, I've got to say, I think it's you never would have expected it, but I think it's led to a greater degree of cooperation, collaboration, because we've had to. And the end result is, I think, a very productive relationship with this provincial government. And I have to thank the minister and his government in terms of the financial support beyond this particular project. It has been extremely helpful for us, and without it, we would have been in a devil of a situation. So thank you again for that.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I want to once again thank, of course, Minister Clark, MPP Bauma, and everyone for joining us for this important announcement. And this brings us to the end of the formal program. I want to once again really want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for taking the time. And it's incredible announcements such as these that really kind of make our day. So thank you again. I hope all of you have a wonderful afternoon.
Sorry, it's Maria. Before you go, I do think that there are some media that are trying to ask a question. So I'm just going to ask our IT support if they can see the raised hands.
I do not see the raised hands. However, it is enabled. Crystal might be able to, since she's full host.
I think I saw a hand from there was a logo. I think it said Brant 1. So I wasn't sure whether that hand was still up. It was up, and then
Yeah,
so
Minister, I saw that as well.
I don't know if the person disconnected or whether they're still on.
I think that person disconnected, and I saw that hand had gone up when the mayor was speaking. So I can reach out to her and we'll make sure that her question gets answered. So
Perfect.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Yep, thanks, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
Crystal, if you can just assign full host to me,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay. Thank you.
See everyone later.